Hi guys. Today we'll discuss Chinese tech companies. So a viewer has requested that I would discuss the difference between Chinese and U.S. tech companies, especially on the technical side. Well, there are quite a few. I should really go to sleep. It's like 5 a.m., but I'd um, yeah, I felt pretty strongly about this. And also today I had a discussion with a few of my colleagues before coming home on the differences, and it was quite a stark contrast. Okay, so uh, don't know how my bandwidth is at the moment because climbing over the wall and that ladder isn't always reliable. Okay, so first difference is in China, a lot of energy for engineers, especially high level engineers, is devoted to presentations and internal politics. Having worked for about a decade in the US, that, at least in my experience, wasn't the case. I can definitely understand there's always politics involved when when there's a large number of people collaborating with each other. But I think um, in China, that goes to an extreme. The presentations would take up a shit ton of your time. Um, in terms of percentages, I would say maybe for these guys, at least above 40%. And in my experience, when I was interviewing, um, well, people with titles of things like architects or CTOs, albeit for smaller companies, they are probably less competent than my employees that had graduated less than um, uh, 3 years of experience. More specifically, first of all, they can't code. Their code is shit. They don't know much about algorithms. Basically, the lead code kind, for which I don't particularly blame them, except that for basic things like bubble sort or twosome, I would expect like a normal person who has gone through computer science education to be able to answer those. And that wasn't the case. Many of them don't have the concept of complexity in mind, complexity in terms of big O notation. So O of n or log n, or sometimes n squared or whatever. Those are the most common complexity. Well, they're not even classes, but uh, figures. So for me, sorting has a lower bound of n log n, and that's almost branded into my memory. But that's not the case for them. For people that I've interviewed that had um, like 10 years of industry experience, and that's just bad. In terms of coding ability, well, they're pretty shit too. Out of the recent, I would say, 10 interviewees that we had that had, uh, Oh, hi, Bendover. That was your request, by the way. Out of the recent 10 interviews that we had with people that are supposed to be experienced, they were all shit uniformly. The extreme case, there was a woman that had trouble dealing with the equivalent of Zoom in China. So, like, what the fuck? So they can't code, they don't know complexity, they don't know algorithms. I think the only redeeming feature about these things are producing PowerPoint slides, maybe. And what use do I have for them? They're essentially useless. And one reason that well, they're just too far from the trenches. So in the Silicon Valley, we would review each other's code. In a reasonable company, no line of code goes into the master branch without being reviewed. And that's the mantra that I have adopted in my current company. That was apparently not the case in China. So in small companies, they have no code review whatsoever. Fine. You're a small company, you're trying to survive, whatever. On a big company, you have a monthly code reviews. Like, what the fuck? They're supposed to be corrected on the spot. It's both for the company's benefit and for the employees' benefit. They're supposed to grow on the job. But that's not the case. The tech lead would review all the code that has been committed within the last month. And I don't know, I have a fairly good ability to comprehend a large chunk of code, up to the point where my partner would blame me for indulging in my colleagues' tendency to submit large diffs. I can guarantee that I cannot understand whatever they are writing for a month. So basically, whatever code review mechanism they have is pointless. So that's that. Yeah. And then let's see what else you guys have in mind. Can something like social commerce ever see? It's not social commerce. It's cheap shit. It's yeah. The crux is cheap shit plus ignorant people plus essentially like viral invites. They do sell like legit shit. I don't even want to. I wouldn't even want to use the stuff that's sold on them if they were given to me. I don't know what they're made out of. Oh, and lower bound, you just need a lot of buckets. Well, yeah, if you do radix sorting, sure, but we're talking about the generic case here. ABC, well, Wish is trying. I have no idea which ticker Wish represents. You actually said my name. How many people that in order 44 that are how to code beyond PowerPoint versus people in their 20s? Well, in the US, I know quite a few people like that. I know a guy in his, I think he's 60s, 60 years old almost. His code is fine. His hands are shaking, but his code is fine. And the guy, yeah, and I really respect a lot of opinions from him because he would try to balance out the aggressiveness with past experiences of failure. So, while connection is unstable, please wait while we try to reconnect. Hopefully, we have reconnected. Let me know if the connection is now bad. It will be interesting to see how age plays into the ability to use new technology, especially given how rapid. Um, well, the first generation of Chinese that worked in the tech industry has uniformly turned into managers and no longer touch code. There is an implicit age threshold uh, of 35 years old. Essentially, if you're 35 and you're not a manager of people, you suck and you should go and deliver food or sell insurance. So don't have any experienced individual contributors of technical stuff. They're all fucking out of the workforce because they are deemed as sucky. Um, yeah. Are there any Chinese tech companies that you're bullish on? No. They all kind of suck. Can China ever catch up with Taiwanese, Korean chip production? No, because this place, the companies with the money are typically bureaucratic and have ties with the government. One can argue which one caused which, but it's essentially the case. And yeah, and they're like filled with politics and basically stifling for anyone with any abilities. I wouldn't want to work in any of these organizations. And the places that are not bureaucratic don't have any money. So I don't see China catching up to Taiwan or Korea in terms of chip production. They're also delusional. The whole fucking population is delusional. Um, shouldn't competition cause standards practices proliferate? No. Um, instead, well, at least from what I observe, the practices from Alibaba proliferates into the other guys, and then people with Alibaba experience are really hot for what would you call these SMBs to hire? They're all fucking shit. I probably insulted, I don't know, 300,000 people, but they're all fucking shit. I haven't interviewed anyone from Alibaba that had any um, decent ability to write proper code. Maybe the good ones are just staying inside, or my company is just small and unattractive enough to not warrant a look from any of them. That's fine. That's a possibility. But I don't have a high opinions of these guys. How much do you pay your employees? A new grad gets paid. By the way, I pay above average, or rather above medium, average and medium both, I think. A new grad, in terms of software engineering, gets paid 12K CNY, and that translates to about 1.8K US. The median income for undergrads in China is about 5 to 6K, 5.5, something like that. For technology related jobs, they get paid about 6.x, but less than 7K, so that's less than 1K USD. All right. Even Baba, Tencent are shit. Well, their employees are fairly shit. Don't know about the business. I think business are fine, but the employees are shit. especially with the ubiquity of remote work. It seems like Longxin arbitrage is coming into play at some point. Well, Chinese don't speak English, so and they're getting less fluent in English as time goes by, with our beloved leader getting rid of English exams in primary school, replacing that with Shiism. And I'm not joking. He it's fucking in the curriculum. Shiism is in the curriculum starting this September. Is the Chinese young tech talent different to Silicon Valley? Yes, very much. They all suck. I've been looking at China's tech ETFs. I don't know about these guys, the ETFs. I haven't looked into them. No opinion. Can kind of suck and still be decent. Yes, they can suck and still be well. They only suck in terms of their technical abilities. Maybe their business is fantastic. So being more nationalistic, hard to enter. Yeah, that's definitely the case. But we've just had, well, today, in fact, there was news about redistribution. Okay, you can check that out. Essentially, now you are forced to donate. Remember how about Chinese version of TMC? Yeah. Well, the Chinese version of TSMC went shit because they first have a lot of internal struggles. Secondly, they pay like shit, so all their employees left who had any brain. So that's that. Oh man, this makes me reconsider my huge out of 1/10 position. Well, it's a balance. I think that's just a balance of what you see. I mean, the capital market is made up of different differing opinions. What do you think of MU? No idea at the moment because I haven't looked into them because I've been too busy writing code. You think it's currently over? I have no idea. What is Shiism? Well, it's not the history of him, it's the thought of him. There's a fucking subject called Shiism, and it consists of you memorizing whatever he has said. It's like Leninism or Maoism. It's not what they did, but what they think. And take a pick between English and Shiism. Which one do you think is more productive for Chinese productivity? So yeah, they're the I think that what I observe is people born in the 2000s are a lot less open to differing ideas than people born in the 80s or the 90s in China. I think there was a book that was published in 2009. It's called China's Not Happy. And when these people born in the 2000s got into their formative years, the mainstream, the zeitgeist of the country was that China is the future, China is going to dominate all, and everything else is going to, decline. And they have this delusional arrogance that, yeah, it's quite disgusting. Are you interested in 2022 Beijing Olympics? That's probably going to get boycotted. I don't know. Not interested at all. You believe the conspiracy created the coronavirus and well, I think my opinion is that it was created in China. It was not intentionally released. It was an accident. Otherwise, why would it first damage China, then the rest of the world, right? Otherwise, I mean, rationally, you would send the virus somewhere first and have all the proper effective vaccines ready at home. Our vaccines are shit. in Nanjing, where, well, I don't remember, it was like 38. The spark was like 38 airport employees were infected. Out of those, 37 were vaccinated. Very effective vaccine, that seems. An opinion on SOEs like the Bank of China. Well, Agriculture Bank of China has a shit balance sheet, bunch of hidden bad loans. China Railway has a shit of debt, 5% of China's GDP. I don't know how much I want to get involved in those. Is it true that CN housing market is bubbly? Yes, it is bubbly. It's definitely bubbly at the moment. Well, your median undergrad salary is 5K in all of China. Well, the housing here in Hangzhou, which is supposedly a second tier city, turning into first tier. That's what they say. I would say the median apartment costs 4 million. Takes you only what? 800. Let me do the math. I'm too drunk for the math. So what? 4 million divided by 5,000. 800 a month. It's not that long, only 800 a month. If tech does not pay that good, what pays good? That tech is the highest paying position in China. So they just don't get paid that much. Jobs have got a lot of self-innovation, self-direction. Paying more than the industry average and median goes a long way in attracting good talent and leaving them alone. Good healthcare important. Healthcare is okay here, but not that great. Arguably a little bit better than the US for the poorer people, but not by much, because most of the life-saving drugs are not included in the healthcare plan. You gotta pay out of pocket. Did your India short position pay off? No. No, I had some puts and they all expired worthless. Dude, you're anti-China. Well, yes, I have turned anti-China. Why did you turn like that? Did something happen there? Well, things that happen that everybody can see. Stuff that are not good for the Chinese and economy / population. What do you think about China Mobile? Half of MC is in cash is really good. I don't know. I have nothing against China Mobile. It's gonna do okay. It's never gonna earn too much money. It's an SOE, so employees are not that really motivated. At the same time, they have a monopoly position, so can't lose that much money either. A friend that's a long-time R language vibe also enjoys your roasting of bad code like a lot. Sure, I mean, coders think alike. If you have shitty code, you should get roasted. Collabs with Sven. Well, Sven is in his island at the moment. We can probably do one once he get off his island. Or his wife's island. In his words, he said, in my wife's island. In China, the bubble will keep going and basically copy Japan, taking years to bust. Well, Japan had 2 rounds of property bubbles. The first one bursted in 1974, the second one in 1989. China's first burst, arguably, you can argue both ways, 1994, 2009. Either way could be that interpretation. 2009 was following the global financial crisis, and 1994 is more Hainan-ish, localized to Hainan. So you can interpret that both any way you want. Personally, I do follow quite closely on what Japanese and Korean histories almost predict of the Chinese history, except the Chinese one is probably worse. I hit the word cap, but I meant jobs that pay well and have a really good healthcare. Well, healthcare, the companies don't pay for healthcare. There's a, what do you call those? It's not a single payer system. It's like somewhere in between. But it's a universal plan, except that you are limited by how much you earn, in a sense. Few more that look cheap, like HK Packs, Toy, Jiashili. No ideas about those. What do you think about Baozun? It looks really cheap for what it grows. The Baozun, I have actually come across their office while digging for my own office space. I still don't have a clear understanding of what their business is. They seem to fine, and they seem to provide some kind of bespoke solution for large clients. I've heard that they have, from some acquaintances, that they have cannibalized their business. So they seem to be fairly competent in terms of grabbing market share. But that's where my understanding ends. I really don't know too much about Baozun to comment on its future. You're fairly vocal about the central government. Well, I do a little bit, but maybe I'm useless and pointless enough that they would ignore me. Also, not that many people speak English in the first place. Language is always a barrier, eh? If things turns into shit, I'll probably get prosecuted and put into jail. Maybe I should start speaking Italian. Even fewer Chinese speak Italian. Do you see China's Communist Party keeping up with their control of the society? Yes, tighter. Do you think there will be uprising? I don't know. Don't know about too much about uprising, but I think that control will be tighter. What's the most high return stock in China now? Well, if you're talking about the past a few years, it's the EV stocks, I think. They make you sell online easy. I thought the Baozun guys sell to large businesses, not to small ones. But I don't know enough to for sure say anything. Easy for people to get there to get shit? No, not at all. Most of them don't even speak English. How will they get H-1B visa? Nobody would want to hire them. You need a fucking translator to go with them. I mean, where is the China commodity imports heading? More stimulus or unwinding overcapacity? That's a tough one. China can't get away from oil imports. That's the first thing. On one hand, there's incentive for them to postpone the problem. On the other hand, well, they've already fucked up all the education people. They're now fucking up the baby formula people. And they are now fucking up all the large internet conglomerates. So maybe they don't care that much about having a facade going on after all. So it's a judgment call. Do they really want to have a facade? Maybe they don't even care. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards that they don't care anymore. Oh yeah, they also fucked up a real estate real estate companies. There's a 2 trillion asset company, trillion Chinese yuan, so like 300 billion USD. That's probably going bankrupt. So yeah. What are the 3 best stocks? No comment on that. How hard is for people to own US stock? Very hard. Basically undoable for 99.99% of the population. They can't get dollars, they can't get accounts, they can't get a brokerage, they can't do anything. They can buy everything Chinese and nothing else. In the West, we view China and Russia are really close allies. They're not as close as it seems to be, but is there anything you want to share between those 3 countries? I don't know too much about Russia. They probably don't like us. They probably think that we're shit, that we steal technology and don't know. Well, I think they think that we are beneath them, except with some money, like your rich neighbor who's dumb. That's my guess, because I'm not Russian. I don't know. Do I know any Russian people? I don't know any Russian people, in fact. So, just my guess. Evergrande, yes, Evergrande is going fucked. How to get good China exposure with stocks outside China? The political risk is the same. Well, if your revenue is coming from China, they can fuck you up anytime. What sectors or countries do you think stocks are cheap? Chinese stocks are fairly cheap. Do you want to risk it? I don't know. I have some exposure. What do you think happens with Taiwan? Well, there's what I think, and there's what I wish will happen. I mean, as a people, the Taiwanese and mainland Chinese are really one and the same. We speak the same language. Up until 1940, we had same culture. And I feel really happy that they're able to achieve what they have. And I hope they can go on the current path they have been on. They have their own issues to deal with, but the general direction they're going is commendable. And yeah, I sincerely hope they continue to do well. I mean, freedom is a precious thing, and they have done good with the freedom they have now. So that's what I wish would happen. What really will happen is, I think, like 40-30% of the chance there'll be an invasion. And Taiwan really can't stand China in a war of attrition. But yeah, I really, really, really do hope they continue to do well. I mean, they're a testament that Chinese people are not fucking brain dead and need brainwashing. Russia hates everybody. Yes, okay. I'm quite sure Stevie doesn't care. They will preserve control. They will die basically with fear of revenge. Yeah, they do with fear of revenge. From Afghanistan, no, they buy nothing from Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a shithole with nothing to show the world other than terrorism. I have to go for now, but it was a nice story. Well, good night. What do you think about Bitcoin? No thoughts. And yeah, it's been half an hour, and I should really go. I still need to go to work tomorrow. Not least which I have to provide technical support for my technical employees. Good night, all.